Welcome to Stories by Rushik podcast. Imagine just for a second going on a date.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
But you're not doing it because you want to find your soulmate or, even because you want to have a nice dinner.
Right.
You're doing it because you desperately need to finish season 3 of your favorite show. And, well, this specific person happens to have the streaming password.
Which is just, it sounds totally absurd.
It sounds completely absurd. But today we're exploring a brilliantly observant short story that starts with exactly this premise. It's titled, "She Dated Him for a Netflix Password but Found Forever Instead." So, okay, let's unpack this, because on its face, we're looking at what sounds like a cynical joke about how we just use each other in the digital age.
Yeah, a punchline, basically.
Exactly. But as you read further, it reveals this genuinely profound, kind of hidden truth about modern convenience and how a totally transactional setup can accidentally evolve into a timeless connection.
It really does, and I think that's where his unique perspective just completely shines. Yeah, because his thought leadership on human behavior is incredibly sharp, but, and this is key, he never preaches at you.
Right, there's no judgment.
Exactly. He takes this hyper-modern, almost trivial, digital habit like exchanging a password, and he uses it as a microscope. He's examining how we actually build relationships today. He doesn't judge the protagonist for her like purely selfish motives. Instead, he observes the whole evolution with a lot of wit.
I love that.
Yeah, so our goal today is to trace that exact shift. We really want to understand the mechanics of how a sterile, convenient digital trade manages to turn into something fierce and loyal, something that completely outlasts the screen that brought them together in the first place.
I love that approach because we really do need to examine that starting line first. Let's talk about what the story calls the digital negotiation.
Oh, the digital negotiation.
Yeah, where the protagonist initiates what she calls a seasonal arrangement. She literally walks into this guy's life looking for an entry ticket to a fictional world.
She just wants cinematic escapes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I read this and my mind immediately went to, well, how we treat software subscriptions.
Oh, that is a perfect comparison.
Right. When you need to use like a really specific editing program or maybe a resume builder for just one single task.
Oh, absolutely. The classic one and done scenario.
Yes. You sign up for this 7-day free trial and your intention from the very first second you hit submit is entirely selfish.
Completely.
You're literally sitting there, setting a calendar reminder on your phone to cancel the subscription in 6 days.
So your credit card doesn't get charged.
Exactly. You might even use a burner email address. You don't care about the software company. You don't care about their corporate vision or their long-term roadmap.
You just want the tool.
You just want to extract the perks, get your PDF, and get out. And that is exactly what this woman is doing to a living, breathing human being.
Sure.
She's essentially setting up a free trial for a relationship.
What's fascinating here is how perfectly that framing captures the underlying psychology of modern romance. There's this phrase used in the text where he describes the man as a digital doorstep.
A digital doorstep. Ouch.
I know, right? But think about the mechanics of a doorstep for a second. You wipe your muddy shoes on it, you step over it, and you completely ignore it once you are inside.
Because its entire existence is purely utilitarian.
Exactly. In this story, the destination she actually wanted was the fictional high-definition world of late-night entertainment. The man sitting on the couch next to her was just, well, he was the toll booth she had to pass through to get there.
Wow.
It's a really sharp observation about how we operate when we are starved for entertainment and just exhausted by reality. We actively seek out escapes. And, we aren't above using real people as nothing more than a remote control to access them.
Wait, hold on. Let me push back on this a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
Because when you say it like that, treating someone as a digital doorstep, it sounds incredibly malicious.
It does sound harsh.
But if we are honest with ourselves, like if we look at how dating apps function right now, aren't we all constantly seeking convenience?
Oh, 100%.
We swipe based on proximity. We're like, is this person within 5 miles?
Yeah.
Or do they like the same coffee shop? Or can they give me access to a fun Friday night?
Right. It's highly transactional.
So is it actually a bad thing that she started this arrangement just to get a password? I feel like We all do some version of this, don't we?
That is a completely fair point, and it's crucial to make that distinction. It's not inherently malicious, and his writing makes sure we really understand that. It's just practical.
Practical, right.
The zeitgeist of modern culture is the complete elimination of friction. We want our food delivered in 20 minutes, we want our packages the next day, and we want our dates to fit seamlessly into our existing routines.
Yeah, zero effort.
Right. So the problem isn't that treating someone as a utility is evil. The problem is that it makes the connection incredibly fragile.
Ah, I see.
If the entire foundation of your interaction is based on convenience and extraction, what happens when it's no longer convenient?
Oh, wow.
That's the tension the story builds. But before we get to the breaking point, the narrative introduces this beautiful, completely unscripted shift.
Right. The transition from the screen to the carpeted floor. This is where the transaction fails to, well, stay a transaction.
It breaks out of the mold.
It does.
Well,
The story describes the true cinema happening silently on the floor of his living room. The glow of the monitor slowly becomes secondary to the warmth of his actual presence.
it's such a vivid contrast. I mean, on one hand, you have the screen, which represents multi-million-dollar produced cinematic escapes, perfectly scripted dialogue, flawless lighting.
All the glossy stuff.
Exactly. And on the other hand, you have a simple, slightly messy, unscripted reality on a carpeted floor, and the reality completely overtakes the fiction.
But why does that happen? I marvel at the irony here, but I also really want to understand the mechanics of it. The very tool she used to extract value from him, the entertainment, like the whole reason she initiated the human free trial, effectively becomes useless background noise.
Which fades away.
Yeah. Well, why does the screen lose its power? You're sitting there in the dark, the movie is playing right in front of you. Why doesn't she just watch the movie?
I think it comes down to the difference between passive consumption and active vulnerability.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, a screen demands nothing from you. You sit back, you stare forward, and it just washes over you. You don't have to engage, you don't have to respond, you don't even have to look at the person sitting next to you.
Right, it's safe.
Very safe. But proximity, actual physical proximity in a quiet room, demands presence. When you share a physical space for hours on end, the silence starts to invite interaction.
Like you can't ignore it forever.
Exactly. A side comment about a scene turns into a debate. A shared laugh turns into an inside joke. You pivot your body away from the screen and toward the person, and that pivot, that's where the magic happens.
Yes. Have you ever had one of those nights where you put a movie on and you genuinely intend to watch it?
Oh, all the time.
But then you just start talking, and 2 hours later the credits are rolling and you haven't processed a single frame of the film.
Not one frame.
It's almost like the movie just becomes a socially acceptable excuse to sit next to someone for 2 hours.
Exactly. And that highlights his broader perspective on what he calls the algorithms of modern romance.
Which is such a great phrase.
It is. We rely so heavily on algorithms right now to tell us who we are compatible with based on, data points, location, age, shared interests, swipe history.
All the metrics.
Right. But an algorithm is just a mathematical prediction. It cannot predict the alchemy of two people sitting on a carpeted floor.
Oh, that's good.
An app can tell you if you both like the same genre of film, but it can't predict the rhythm of shared breaths or the quiet glances when the room is dark. Unscripted, messy reality will always outperform curated fiction because reality allows you to be seen. Fiction just allows you to escape.
Stories that no screenwriter could ever script.
Yeah.
That line from the text is gorgeous because it nails that dynamic perfectly.
It really does.
The inside jokes organically defied the digital rules she had set up for herself. She came for the fiction, she came for the extraction, but the reality of the carpeted floor was just so much richer.
Oh.
Yeah, as we know with any free trial, and this is where the dread really sets in while reading it, the clock is always ticking. The seasonal arrangement has a literal expiration date.
The scaffolding is about to come down.
Exactly. And this brings us to the climax of the piece, the absolute crucible of their connection. The subscription runs out.
The worst timing.
Right. The screen goes completely dark, and it flashes a cold notification of termination. This is it. The transaction is officially over. The digital ether is calling her back. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Why is that?
Because this moment is the ultimate relationship stress test.
A structural stress test. That's the perfect way to look at it.
Right. Think about it in terms of civil engineering, but applied to human emotion.
Okay, I'm tracking.
When you build a bridge, you surround it with metal scaffolding to hold it up while the concrete sets. In this story, the streaming password was the scaffolding.
Oh, wow.
It was the easy excuse to be in the same room. It was the low-stakes reason to text him on a Friday night. But scaffolding isn't designed to bear the permanent weight of the bridge.
No, it has to come down eventually.
Exactly. Now, the screen is dark, the movie is gone, the easy excuse has been completely removed. She is just sitting in a quiet room with a guy. What actually holds them together now? If you pull the scaffolding away, does the bridge stand or does it instantly collapse?
This raises an important question for everyone listening to this.
Yeah.
How often do we abandon connections simply because they cease to be convenient?
Oof. Too often.
Because that cold notification of termination on the TV isn't just about a streaming service, losing funding or whatever. It is a brilliant metaphor for the end of the honeymoon phase in any relationship.
That is so true.
When the fun is over, when the easy entertainment stops, when the novelty wears off and you actually have to put in effort to sustain the bond, what do?
You have to make a choice.
Exactly. And our modern instinct, heavily conditioned by digital culture, is to just close the tab, swipe away, find a new free trial. She could have simply walked out the door. The terms of her internal, selfish contract had been completely fulfilled.
But she doesn't.
She doesn't.
And that is the crux of the entire narrative.
Yeah.
She doesn't awkward laugh and say, well, it's been fun, but I guess I'll go home now. The bridge doesn't collapse. We move from this phase of pure extraction, taking the password, taking the entertainment, taking the temporary comfort, to a phase of active, tangible investment. The story details how she reaches out, not to say goodbye, but to renew the account herself.
Which is huge.
She pulls out her own credit card, she types her numbers in, she recharges it.
It is a massive shift in the power dynamic.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
Because when I first read that, a cynical part of me thought, well, of course she pulled out her card. She really wanted to finish this season of the show they were watching.
Naturally.
Right. If she renews the account, isn't she just extending the exact same transaction? Isn't she just putting the scaffolding right back up? How do we know this is a profound shift toward true love and not just her desperately wanting to know how the TV show ends?
I love that you brought that up because challenging that action gets to the very core of his thesis. Let's look at the psychology of her environment for a minute. If she solely cared about finishing the television show, she could have paid for her own account on her own phone in the comfort of her own apartment.
Oh, well.
She wouldn't need him anymore, but she doesn't do that. She chooses to renew it there on his television, linking her financial investment to his physical space. She isn't paying for the movies anymore because, as we established, the movies just became background noise.
Ah, so the movies aren't the product anymore.
Precisely. The product she is paying for is the excuse to stay on the carpeted floor.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. She is paying for the space they have created together. When she first walked into his life, she was treating him as a utility, a means to an end. But over those quiet hours, he transitioned in her mind from a utility to an irreplaceable companion. So when she pays to renew the account, she is investing in the habitat of their happiness. She is legally binding herself, even in a small way, to that room.
So what does this all mean? When you tie this entire narrative together, you see the subtle humor culminating in this just, deeply heartwarming action. She completely transforms from a taker into a giver.
Totally.
By renewing that account herself on his television, she is fundamentally redefining the relationship. It's no longer a seasonal arrangement based on extraction. It becomes something sacred.
Because she is making a conscious, active choice. True romance is not about what you can extract from another person while it's easy. It's about what you willingly invest to keep the warmth alive when it gets difficult.
Yes.
That is the thought leadership here. He is pointing out that love is loyal, fierce, and happy. And I want to hover on the word fierce for a second.
Okay, let's hover.
We don't typically associate typing a credit card number into a smart TV with the word fierce, but in this specific context, it absolutely is.
It totally is, because it's an act of defiance. It goes completely against the grain of the disposable culture we live in today. We live in a world where everything is easily discarded, easily replaced, and instantly upgraded. If a blender breaks, you buy a new one online. If a conversation gets boring, you open a new app.
It's endless swiping.
Yeah. So to actively choose to stay, to actively choose to pull out your wallet and invest when the screen literally tells you it's over, is a quiet but fiercely loyal act. She is saying, I value what we have here on this carpeted floor more than I value my own convenience or my own money. She is deliberately choosing his reality over the digital ether.
It is a rebellion against disposability, and I think that's why his perspective resonates so deeply with readers.
It really hits home.
It takes this incredibly mundane, slightly selfish, hyper-modern behavior and shows us the exact pivot point where it can turn into something beautiful. He isn't scolding us for looking for a shared screen or temporary comfort. He's acknowledging the reality of how human beings meet today.
Right, meeting people where they are.
Exactly. But he elevates the potential of where we can go. He's showing us that a transactional beginning doesn't doom you to a transactional ending. The warmth of a real human presence can thaw out the coldness of a digital notification, but only if you are willing to make the investment. It's the difference between renting a space in someone's life and deciding you want to help build a home there.
Rented space versus building a home. That perfectly captures the journey from the digital doorstep to the living room floor. And honestly, it makes you reevaluate every small, seemingly trivial interaction in your own life.
Doesn't it?
It really does. Because it's never really just about the password, is it? It's about proximity. It's about the vulnerability of being allowed into someone's space and allowing them into yours, even if the excuse you initially used to get through the door is totally superficial.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves us with something really vital to reflect on.
Yeah, lay it on us.
Look at the relationships in your own life right now, the friendships, the romantic partners, the people you spend time with. Are you operating on a monthly subscription mindset?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Are you just waiting for the convenience to expire so you can easily move on to the next frictionless thing? Or are you actively investing with your time, your energy, your patience, and your genuine presence to keep the warmth alive when the screen inevitably goes dark?
That is the perfect question to carry with you today as you go about your week. Are you just extracting the perks of a free trial, or are you ready to renew the connection yourself and build a home? Thank you for listening to Stories by Ruchik podcast. For more such podcasts, follow Stories by Ruchik on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Prime Music, and YouTube.